Hi, I'm here with Front of House and this is your cloakroom video. I'm now going to show you how to set up a cloakroom and also the two most frequent styles used when running a cloakroom. So now I'm going to set up the cloakroom rail and I'm going to ask my colleague to help me. The cloakrooms will always come tied together like this. First of all, you want to remove the tape or the velcro, whichever it is that's holding it in place. Then each of you will take one side of the cloakroom rail. The sides are the ones with the wheels on them. We now need the bottom part. Now the bottom part has these little metal springs on them, as they are what are used to click into the frame. So, with the springs on the bottom, I will push in the metal spring and slide it into the bottom part. Now you have to make sure that you hear it click. Now that it's inside, once it's all the way in, give it a twist. Did you hear that click? That means that it's well secured. Let me give you a hand. I've pushed in the metal spring, and once it's slid in, it's not quite in place, and that was it clicking in. Now we take the top section. There you are. And you just slide it onto the top. Make sure it's nice and firm so that it's not going to come apart. Now your rail is free to move around wherever you need it. So now that you've built your cloak rail, you have to add your hangers. So you add about 40 to 50 hangers, depending on how busy the event is, all facing the same way on the rail. Depending how many rails you have, you might want to add a number so that you know which hanger is which. What you will do is you will then get given your cloakroom tickets. The cloakroom tickets generally have a hole in one side and then a perforated edge that you can tear off on the other side with numbers on it. You'll then put that over the coat hanger in numerical order so that when you add the coat, you can rip off the bottom section to give to the customer. So I'm now going to talk about the two most common cloakroom techniques. In the first one, the guest will approach the desk, they will hand me their jacket, and I will then put it on the hanger. My hangers are laid out in front of me in numerical order. As soon as I've run out of hangers, I then grab the next lot of hangers from behind me, so that the coats remain in numerical order. So with the first guest showing up, I take their jacket, I place it on the hanger, and I give them the counterpart ticket. The two numbers are the same, and there's usually a perforated edge to make it very easy to hand to the customer. You then hand the jacket to your colleague, who is in charge of keeping the cloakroom and the rail very neat. Your guest may also hand you a bag, in which case you would use the designated bag tags to wrap around the handle. You rip off again the perforated edge and hand the counterpart to the guest, and you give the bag again to your colleague, who will then place it in a way that it's easy to access and in numerical order. You continue in this fashion until your rail is filled up, and then you move on to another rail. This is the second style of cloakroom. This is the shuttle style. Generally in this style, the cloakroom attendant will be by the door and the cloak rail will be back of house. So standing here waiting on the guests, I will then offer to take their coat and put it onto the coat hanger. And as before, I will offer them the perforated edge of the counterpart, which they would then take. I then pass the coat hanger to my colleague, who would then run the bag back of house. The guest might also bring a bag, or in this case, an umbrella. You have to treat the umbrella just like you would treat a bag. You would attach a bag tag and give the guest the counterpart. You give the umbrella to your colleague, who would then run it back of house. If the umbrella comes with a jacket, you have to be sure to give them to the same runner so that they keep them together. The same guest has to have the same runner with the same things. The cloakroom is the first thing that guests will see when they come in. It has to be very neat and very efficient. You have to have everything very organised back of house, or in fact in front of the guests, depending on which system you're using. You need to make sure that everything runs very smoothly, because if you mess up the first thing, it's what they will remember.